Hi everyone, for number 1, 2, and 3, you can do all of these just by doing right triangle trig. And then number 1 and number 3, you can use the Pythagorean identity. So I'm going to show you, let's do number 1 using the Pythagorean identity. And then I'll show you number 2 using right triangle trig, okay? So for number 1, using the Pythagorean identity, the Pythagorean identity is sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals 1. And oops, we usually in 10th grade, we kind of write it like this. In 11th grade, we write it the first way in 11th grade, okay? So they already gave us that cosine is 2/3, okay? So we're gonna put 2/3 in for cosine. And I'm gonna square 2/3. So if I square the 2, I'll get 4, and if I square the 3, I'll get 9. And we're just solving for sine. So to solve for sine, I'm going to subtract 4/9. So 1 is 9/9 minus 4/9, we have 5/9. And then I'm going to take the square root. And usually we would put plus or minus the square root of 5 over the square root of 9. All of these say it's an acute angle. So this is going to just be in the first quadrant where we're going to have everything's positive. So sine theta equals positive root 5 over 3. Oops, root 5 over 3. That's sine. Now to find tangent, what we can do is do sine theta divided by cosine theta. So sine is root 5 over 3 divided by cosine, which is 2/3. Since the denominators are the same, we'll just end up with root 5 over 2. Okay, so that's using the Pythagorean identity. I'm now going to show you number 2 using the right triangle trig. Okay, so for number 2, I'm going to draw a right triangle, and I'm just going to label one of the angles theta. I use the bottom left. So tangent is opposite over adjacent. So we have 3 over 5. 3 will be our opposite, and 5 will be our adjacent. From the problem, they said tangent theta is 3 opposite over 5 adjacent. And now I can solve for the hypotenuse using the Pythagorean theorem. 3 squared plus 5 squared equals x squared. 9 plus 25 equals x squared. X squared equals 34, so x will equal the square root of 34. And again, we would put plus or minus, but since we're doing right triangle trig, and we're only doing the acute angle measures, this time, that's just in our first quadrant, it's going to be positive. So now sine theta will be opposite 3 over the hypotenuse, and then I would just rationalize the denominator, so I would get 3 root 34 over 34. And cosine will be adjacent over hypotenuse, and then again, I would rationalize the denominator, and I would get 5 root 34 over 34. Okay? Now I'll help you with the next problems. Okay, so for number 1, what I do first is I kind of ignore the negative for now. Just ignore the negative in the beginning. And I'm going to do 840 degrees divided by 360, and that gives me 2.3 repeating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 840 and I'm going to subtract 360 two times because it was when we divided it, we got 2.3 repeating. So 840 minus 360 twice. And then that gives me 120. So what that means is I'm going to go around the unit circle twice in the negative direction. So I'm going to go negative once and then twice. And then I need to go 120 degrees. So to get to 120 degrees more, I'm going to do 90 more and then 30 more. So I'm going to have an angle down here. This angle down here has the coordinates -1/2, negative root 3 over 2. So it wants me to find the sine value. The sine is the y. So sine of negative 840 degrees is negative root 3 over 2. Okay? Now I'll help you with number 2, and then I want you to try the rest on your own. And when you do tangent, just do the sine value divided by the cosine value. So the y value divided by the x value. Okay, so in number 2, we have 720 degrees. I'm going to divide that by 360, which is just 2. What that means is we go around the unit circle 2 full times in the positive direction. So once to get to 360, twice to get to 720. We have a value here. We know we have 1, 0. So sine is the y value, so sine of 720 is 0. Okay? I hope that makes sense. Have a wonderful day.